Grandpa discovered a lottery loophole and earned 20 million in 9 years.
In the small town of Everett in Michigan, Jerry wakes up before dawn to go to work like he has been doing for the last 42 years. He's incredibly good at mental math and seeing
Bro,
patterns,
if I won a lottery,
and he's been the best
I don't know what I would do, but I would go crazy, and I just would have. I would. You gotta invest your money. You gotta spend a little money on the bed. See, you feel me? But you also gotta spend some money on yourself, and then just a house and oh my god, cars and
line manager at the cornflakes factory the company
God.
has ever had. However, his line is coming to a close, so his bosses tell him it's time for him to finally retire. Later that day, Jerry has a retirement party with all his loved ones, his wife Marge, his son Doug, his granddaughter Liz, and his daughter Dawn. They even bring him a fishing boat as a retirement gift, but Jerry's mood doesn't improve. He feels lost without having something to do. A month later,
I don't know what I would do if I would retire.
Today he visits his accountant Steve, who informs Jerry that his account has only seen a growth of 2%, which is nothing.
Damn.
But Jerry refuses to put more into stocks because the risk is pretty much like gambling. At Steve's insistence, Jerry takes out the boat to the lake, but his hesitance causes him to make mistakes and the boat's motor ends up broken.
What the
Frustrated with
fuck?
himself, he leaves for his favorite store and hears the clerk explain how the roll down works for the lottery. When the jackpot hits 2 million and nobody gets 6 numbers, the whole jackpot rolls down to the people that got 3 or 4. It basically means better odds. With this still fresh in mind, Jerry finds a fly explaining the whole lottery system and makes some calculations that allow him to find
I feel like the lottery's rigged,
Buying
bro. I
only
don't
one
even
ticket
really
only
think that's
gives
a
you
real
minimum odds,
thing.
but during roll down week, you can earn more than what the ticket costs.
I definitely don't
meaning
think
it's
somebody
just a
named
matter
Jerry
of
finna
buying
win a
enough
lottery
tickets to
either,
make it
though.
profitable. With a
I
plan
just
in
feel like
mind,
that's
Jerry
definitely
goes to the bank
just
to withdraw
not everything that would
$2,000.
happen in life.
The next day, Jerry spends all the money on tickets without telling Marge about it. Once the winning numbers are announced, Jerry does the math and is disappointed to discover he's lost a little over $300. His mood tanks, and after a failed game night with friends, Marge checks on him, but Jerry only tells her he's missed his chance in life.
How the fuck do you lose $300 and not just telling your wife and you're retired?
Marge
That's
disagrees,
just nuts,
pointing out
bro.
that good luck happens
I
the
feel like
same as
something that a
bad.
girl would do.
This simple phrase makes Jerry realize that his
I
sample
feel like
size had been
I feel
wrong.
like you
The next time he goes to the
that as a man.
bank, Jerry withdraws $8,000 and spends it all on tickets again. Sometime
You gotta
later,
take care of
the
her.
lottery announces its winning numbers, and Jerry makes a little over $15,000. After getting
Okay.
paid, he hides all this cash in an old popcorn can in the pantry.
we paid.
A few days later, Jerry and Marge throw a little barbecue party for family and friends. Jerry finds Liz with the can of popcorn, so he has to convince her to let him borrow it for a second in order to move the money into a cereal box. After the party is over, Marge wants to ask Jerry about the pantry, and he panics thinking she's found the money. He confesses he's been playing the lottery and winning, but he didn't tell her because he was ashamed of risking their retirement money.
Niggas
Marge doesn't care though. They need to
I wouldn't have. Why would you tell her? I wouldn't have told nobody that unless they came with me. Unless they had the money in their fucking hand. That money is mine
have
until the
fun,
end of time.
and this is the perfect project. Jerry and Marge decide to continue to play the lottery together, but
That's
when they go to the
fire.
local store, they find the
I'm
machine
some
is gone.
cute
The
couple
clerk
shit.
recommends one in Massachusetts, which would be quite a drive. Jerry asks Steve for his advice, and he confirms that driving to Massachusetts could be part of the investment and there would be no loss. He also wants to be part of it, so he adds $1,000 of his own. Driving all those hours makes for a wonderful time together for the couple. When they make it to the liquor store, they meet the clerk Bill, who explains getting $16,000 worth of tickets would take all day and he can't ignore the rest of the store just for them. Fortunately,
Damn.
they reach a deal and Bill allows them to stay if Marge works the machine herself. When night falls, they get a room in a motel
Just
and
get
watch
paid
the
for it.
lottery on TV.
Just
Then they spend the night checking the thousands of tickets, and by morning,
Damn.
Jerry has their winnings. They've made $21,000. Meanwhile,
Okay,
at Harvard
that's
University,
profit.
student Tyler is doing a research project on the odds of winning different types of lottery. His roommate Eric thinks it's stupid, but looking at the systems allows Tyler to find the same trick Jerry did. Back to the couple, they're arriving back in town when Marge has an idea. Jerry has always wanted to help people, and the more they bet the better the odds, so they could make their project even bigger. The next day, they go to see Steve to start a corporation, legally paying taxes and claiming expenses. They want to bring in the whole town and sell shares, that way they'll have more capital to invest and split the profits. Steve likes the idea and gets more shares of his own in the company that they shall call G's Investment Strategies. Afterward, Jerry gets together with people in town to explain the idea, and everyone accepts to join. Dawn is quick to buy her own share too, but Doug isn't interested.
I wouldn't
Math
buy
isn't
my
his
share
thing,
in
and
this
he's
shit.
tired of Jerry pushing the subject.
Actually, I
Even when he
would.
was a little kid, they
Sounds
spent
like
a
a
lot of time
smart
counting coins because
idea
Jerry
if
thought
you
it
guys
was
think
fun.
about it.
For once, he wishes he could have fun with
At
his
least
father
a
the
few
normal way,
$100
like throwing a
in.
ball. The next time they go to Massachusetts,
You
Jerry
may
and Marge
win, you
bet
may
$40,000.
lose. But the way
Bill
they
doesn't
doing it, the
mind
way
them
I'm
using
seeing
the
it, the
machine
results
this
they
much,
getting,
but there's no way they
I'm not
can finish
losing.
before
I'm not
closing
losing.
time, and he can't have customers inside
I'm
that
making
late.
only profit.
Jerry invites Bill to join the company, and now that he and Marge are technically partners, they can stay
Yo,
in the
you
store
50
for as
years
long as
old,
they
you
want.
like,
By the end of the night, Bill
you retired, 90 years old, drawing shit like this. Are you in fucking preschool? You could at least did like, come on, some outlines or some shit. This shit is terrible. Don't ever pick up a fucking pencil, crayon, marker, anything again.
are technically partners, they can stay in the store for as long as they want. By the end of the night, Bill brings two of his friends as shareholders. When they return to the motel, Marge puts some of her own nice sheets on the bed, and they leave the counting for the next day so they can spend the night together like they haven't done in a long time. Meanwhile in Boston, journalist Maya is asked to write an article about the lottery because those always attract clicks. The next morning, Bill comes to the motel room with the tally of the winnings sold by the store. They've made $82,000, therefore doubling their investment. Their business just keeps growing from there, and Jerry and Marge don't get tired of their 10-hour trips because they enjoy their time together. Back in Harvard, Tyler shows Eric the results of the simulations he's been running, confirming the loophole is real. Tyler doesn't have the money to get started and refuses to ask his dad because he wants this to be his own thing. Instead, he pitches his idea to every student in the dorms, and with each of them putting in a couple of bucks they can reach the initial investment needed. Filling the lottery slips is a lot of work though, and Tyler lets the others do it, refusing to help because he's in charge. In Michigan, all the shareholders are pitching in to renovate.
This nigga Tyler fucked up. I can already tell you. I'm already knowing that the people that he entrusted, or at least the dude that he told, I don't know, the guy that was handing shit out, his right hand man is gonna turn on them, and they're gonna take the money. And Tyler's not getting shit.
The amphitheater and bring back the jazz festival. When Doug goes to visit Jerry, he's shocked to see he's keeping all the tickets just in case the IRS asks for them when they get audited. Jerry has a surprise for his son. There's one share under Doug's name, because Jerry wouldn't want to count coins without him. In the evening, the townspeople get together in the local bookstore, which got renovated thanks to the lottery winnings as it happened to the hotel and the mailman's truck. Jerry shares with everyone how well they're doing, informing them that a big part of the money will go to more betting. Afterward, they all leave to celebrate at the diner. Jerry and Marge tell Steve they want to bet $600,000.
It's not like a fire retirement shit to do that. It help out people too. I like
Steve
that.
thinks they should stick to their normal bets, but they refuse. They need to get as much money as possible before someone at the lottery company discovers their trick. Bill tries to get a second machine for his store, but rules say only one per shop is allowed, so they bring another store owner as a shareholder and install a machine in his diner. In Boston, Maya is looking at the public list of winners. She notices Jerry wins big every 3 weeks and drives 10 hours just to play the lottery in a different state, yet he has no criminal record. This smells like a big story, so her boss gives her the green light to look into it. Back in Harvard, Tyler informs all the students that they've made $50,000. Everyone is happy but only for a short moment, because soon they need to start filling double the slips to make it in time. Eric notices the payout should have been bigger, so he hacks the state lottery system to check the sales at every store, discovering there's another group doing the same thing. Later that night, Jerry surprises Marge at Bill's store, asking her to take a break to celebrate their 46th anniversary. They toast with champagne and dance to slow songs on the radio, only to be interrupted by Tyler and Eric, who laugh when they see their two old people. Eric doesn't want their groups to hurt each other's winnings, so he asks Jerry to bring his group into Eric's and let him do all the betting. But Jerry turns him down, explaining he doesn't want to sit down and relax. He actually enjoys having a project and sharing it with his wife. Before leaving, Tyler tries to insult him by saying a farmer's math can't beat a Harvard student that works with binomial distribution. Jerry already knows this system and points out his flaws before explaining Tyler is only gaining $32 for every 100,000 he wins. Eric can't believe what he's hearing, and Tyler drags him away in shame. Maya goes to the lottery headquarters to try to get an interview with one of the executives. However,
32 for every 100,000? If I was getting scammed like that.
The man's aware of this guy that keeps winning and doesn't see the big deal because sometimes people get lucky, so Maya doesn't get anything juicy to publish. One morning, Jerry's approached by Tyler again. Unaware that the clerk can hear him, Tyler makes a threat. Jerry must give up the game or they will hack into all his personal accounts and identity to bring him down. In the evening, during the new library meeting, He tells the townspeople they can't play anymore, although he blames a new variable that he doesn't expand on. The store clerk tells Doug what really happened, so Doug talks to his dad to remind him this isn't about math, it's about being human. Jerry spent too many years in the factory being pushed around, but now, his talents are being respected by the townspeople that he brought together. When the roll-down weekend comes, Tyler gets all the students ready to bed. Jerry still wants to do the right thing, but Marge scolds him, reminding him this is the time to be fun and crazy. This convinces him to get back in the game, and the couple drives to Massachusetts to reunite with Bill and his machine. At Harvard, Eric and Tyler notice Jerry called their bluff and is still active, so Tyler
Why do you get
comes up
so
with a plan.
mad?
They need to create a roll-down when nobody expects it, that way they can take it all. Using their hacking skills, they can learn when the jackpot hits 1 million and they can bet that same amount in one day. To get this money, Tyler makes a deal with his father's rich friends. The plan works and the students force the roll down. Bill finds Jerry and Marge to tell them the news, and Jerry easily guesses the student group did it with their hacking. Furious, Jerry drives all the way to Harvard to talk to them. When he gets there, he's already calmed down and instead of fighting, he gives them a heartfelt speech. Tyler may be winning big time, but he's also using the other students as employees. Meanwhile, after decades of only feeling connected to math, Jerry finally feels part of a community that trusts him, and for him that's way more valuable than money. Jerry goes back home and discusses options with the others. Bill and Steve want to trigger their own roll down, but Jerry doesn't think that
No, fuck that though. I want the bread. You tell me you niggas winning the lottery and you are okay with not winning the lottery because you found your true happiness? Yeah, fuck that. I'll take a fucking Bugatti over a hobby.
Would be fair to other players. Steve can't believe that the lottery is doing nothing about the students, making Jerry realize that if the lottery is doing nothing it's because they don't care. Marge and Jerry travel to the lottery headquarters to have a talk with the executives. He points out the company knew about the loophole, and they didn't do anything because it was pushing their profits through the roof. Jerry promises to keep his mouth shut if the lottery offers transparency by posting the size of the jackpot on their website. That way everyone gets a fair chance. Marge also requests a second machine for Bill's store. The executives accept, and now Jerry and Marge can work side by side at Bill's. Tyler discovers the change on the website and gets ready to start a war on Jerry, but during the next group meeting, only Eric is there. Nobody wants to do this anymore because it makes them feel like bastards, so Tyler decides to work alone. Maya is still looking at the public winner records and discovers Tyler wins every 3 weeks as well. Weeks pass, and Jerry surprises Doug with a football to finally play with him like he should have done during his childhood. Maya interrupts their little get-together to ask for an interview, and Jerry gladly tells her everything. The story of how Jerry helped the entire town is inspiring but not clickbaity enough, and her boss demands something juicier. The next time they go to Bill's, Jerry and Marge discover the lottery suspended their license and took away the machines. This was caused by Maya's article, which used Tyler's hacking as the star of the story to make it look like fraud.
Oh my
Tyler's dad also sees the article and takes his son out of Harvard as punishment.
This nigga
the
Tyler
next day, Steve comes by to drag the couple into their last shareholder meeting.
The couple.
Instead of the library though, they go to Jazz Fest,
and
which has finally been paid for. It turns out they didn't miss the last roll down. Doug, Bill, and the townspeople travel all around the state, each of them using a machine at a different store to make it in time. Jerry declares them to be a big family and stays to have a dance with his wife to celebrate.
That's
the betting group gets dissolved after the game phases out. Jerry and Marge use most of their winnings to start a construction loan business in town, and like most of their neighbors, they put their children and grandchildren through school. By the end, the group has made a total of $27 million, shocking his old factory bosses when they hear about it.